Hi there, it's Lisa from Critters'n Ink Designs. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Today I'm going to be making these cute little faceted boxes. Aren't they adorable? So this particular one, I have to make 50 of them for a baby shower for my daughter next month. I think I have about maybe 25 done or so. And this is one that my girlfriend made called Sweet Treats, just with some, I'm not even sure what paper that is, but it's very pretty. And then this is the one that we're going to be doing today using the tiny keepsakes little stamps and the, what's it called? The Let It Snow Specialty Designer Series paper out of the new holiday catalog that comes out next week. Okay, so let's get started. So the designer series paper that I'm using is from the Let It Snow Specialty designer series paper. We're going to be using this one, so you can, I don't know if you can see the little, it's very glittery. And then the opposite side is this, and I haven't decided which side we're going to use yet, but yeah, they're both pretty. I don't know. And on all of our designer series papers, they are reversible. So here's the one that we're using today, this one. And it has this beautiful snowflake. Then we have mittens. And on the other side of that is a beautiful stripe. And these beautiful little snowmen with the snowflakes on the other side. And these snowflakes are all glittery on that side, and a beautiful another stripe on that side. And these trees are also glittery. It looks like they have dazzling diamonds all over them. And a different stripe on that. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a red, it looks like paint strip, and then some green. And then this red and white snowflake is on the other side of this really pretty little snowman guy, and you can see they're all sparkly. All of our designer series paper, well, they come in two sizes. They come in 6x6 or 12x12. Obviously, this is the 12x12. And they all have on their label, it tells you what the coordinating colors are. So for this particular grouping, we have basic black, blueberry bushel, coastal cabana, flirty flamingo, real red, shaded spruce, and whisper white. So it leaves all the guesswork out of it. You can just go ahead and choose the inks that suit you. Also today we're going to be, as I said, we're going to be using the tiny keepsakes stamps, and we're going to be using just the little snowflake and for you. Oh, and I noticed that when my girlfriend made this one, she used the sweet treat out of the tiny keepsakes, and it also has these cute little stamps to create a background. So one is a stripe and one is the plaid. It's so adorable. And they're the new cling. You can see how clingy they are. And also in the new catalog you will see, and this comes out on September the 4th, by the way, there is the mini curvy keepsakes die box dies. Or not die box dies, dies for the little curved box. And I haven't made one of these yet, but it's one little die. And we'll do one of these later. My next video will do one of these. And it comes with tons of little label shapes. So cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. So that's bundled. So if you buy the two of them together, if you buy the stamp set and this die set together, you will save 10% as a bundle. All right, let's get started. So to make this particular project, you need 2 pieces of cardstock, one at 5 inches and one at 4 1/4. You'll also need, oh, what did I do with it? You need designer series paper cut at, oh, here it is. You need 2 1 7/8, 1 7/8, and one at 2 1/2. And then out of the scraps from when you cut out your main pieces, you're going to have a wide piece on the edge, and we're going to use the largest of the framed, the layering square scallop frame to cut that out. And I've already gone ahead and done that, so I have that here. And you can find the layering squares in your annual catalog under Tools. And layering squares is on page 194, and it's $48 and you get 19 dies. So I'm using the largest of the scalloped square die, the largest one. You can hear my little cat Roxy in the background there meowing away at me. I think she thinks it's dinner time, but it's really not. Okay, so we have our 2 1 7/8, 2 1/2, and this is cut out of the largest scalloped square. So I'm going to put these aside for now. And I'm going to grab, where did I put that? I'm just going to grab my trimming tool, one sec. Good grief, if it was any closer it would have bit me. Okay, so I've got my trimmer, and we're going to use it to do some scoring. So I'm just going to move this up here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score at, let me just move this up. So you can see on our trimmer that you can measure from the left, obviously, but also from the right. And I don't know, there's an awful lot of glare here. I don't know if you can, can't really. So you can see, oh, let me turn it this way. So you can see, you can also measure on the right. So we're going to actually score this at the 3/8 mark, which is the second mark over from the 1/2 inch. So there would be, there's 1, there's a 1/2, and there's a 1/4, so we want the one in the middle, the 1/8, 3/8. Okay, so we're going to line this up at 3/8. Just move this ahead so you can see. Just going to line it up, make sure it's pretty square. Now this tool has 2 blades, and the lighter colored one is your scoring tool. So I'm going to score at 3/8 on all 4 sides. This trimmer is actually retired now, but we got a memo that the new trimmer is going to be out by the end of the year, sometime between now and the end of the year. So I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark at the halfway point, which is 2 1/2. I'm just going to get my blades out of here. And I'm just going to put a little tick mark right on the score line. Can you see? Well, you probably can't see, but anyway, I'm going to put a little tick mark right at the score line on all 4 sides at the 2 1/2 inch mark. So that's 1/2 of 5 inches. Okay, and so now I'm going to get my cutting blade out of the way again, and I'm going to line these 2 little dots up centered, and I'm going to take my scoring tool. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my take a pick tool. Oh, I don't have the ball on it. Okay, I'm not going to take my take a pick tool. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to just score between, oh, actually, you know what? I can do the whole thing. I'm just going to go like this. Score the whole thing. So now I'm going to do that again on all 4 sides. So I'm going to lay this down so I can see. I want that centered. I'm just going to score. And I'm going to score. Yeah, so I'm making 40 to 50 of these little pink ones for my daughter's baby shower next month. We're expecting our first grandchild, so we're all very excited about that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the 4¼ inch piece, and a half of 4¼ is 2 1/8. So I'm going to line this up at the 2 1/8 mark, and I'm going to again just make a little tick mark with a pencil right in the groove there. So 2 1/8. And again, I'm going to line those little tick marks up. I hope you can see this. 2 little tick marks up in the groove for where the cutting blade goes. I'm going to score, and I'm going to do that again on all 4 sides. So so you want the little tick marks to line up right where that little groove is. Okay, last one. There we are. Okay, so that's all of the cutting for now. I'm just going to put this aside. And what we're going to do is take from the layering squares. This one measures about, what did I do with my ruler? I thought I had the other grid paper that's measured, and I don't. I'm going to grab my ruler here so that we can, I think it's about 2 1/8. Yeah, this one measures at 2 1/8. So we're going to center that, and this is going to be the top. So we're going to center that in there and cut a hole out of it. I've already gone ahead and done that. But we're going to save the little hole that we cut out, because we're going to need that later. Okay, so now we're going to fold and burnish all of our score lines there. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and on the bottom part where we've done all that massive scoring is we're going to cut these corners right off where the 2 side score lines meet. We're actually just going to trim that corner right off. Okay, so do that on all 4 sides. And then in the center where the little V is, we're actually going to just trim that right out. And when I do it, I take the score line with it, just so that I don't have it looking kind of lumpy bumpy. Okay, these little boxes are so simple and so fun. I'm absolutely addicted. I'm totally addicted to them. I can't remember how many I've made so far. For the shower I've made probably, I think 25 I said, and I still have about 20 to go. But just in general, I've been making them like a crazy person. I just love them. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and fold and burnish our other score lines. So every score line you need to fold it and burnish it. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I'm so looking forward to the long weekend. We also own a quilt shop in Coburg called the Stitch Witch, and usually on long weekends we just close for the whole weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so that our staff can have the time off too. They all have families and cottages and things like that, so they like to, you know, get away. All right, so now comes the assembly part. This part is kind of fun. So when you start your gluing process, you start from the middle basically, and you're going to work your way out. And then you're going to take your lid, and instead of lining them up like you would think you're going to line them up, you actually shift it over. And that will give you the pyramid-y kind of a look. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. I tried doing this with tear and tape, and I actually found that the tear and tape, I felt that I needed the wiggle room, which you don't get with tear and tape. When you stick it, it's stuck. Okay, and I'm just going to go around. I like the flexibility of the Tombow glue. You can, if you need to wiggle it, you can wiggle it. There. So we don't have any huge plans for the long weekend. I think we might head to the cottage for a day or two. I don't like leaving my cats. My husband says I'm silly. The cats are quite self-sufficient, but ours are very needy. They're like having two toddlers. They always have to be where I am, and if you leave them, I always feel bad. My husband isn't so sentimental. He's like, oh, they're cats, you can leave them. Luckily, our cottage is very close, so when I get, like, I need to have a cat fix, I can just say, well, I think I'm ready to go home now. It's only a half an hour away, so we can hop in the car and come home and rescue the kitties. Another thing I found using the glue as opposed to the tear and tape is when I was using the tear and tape, I found I had little holes in the corners, which I don't seem to get with the glue because I can wiggle things around. You want to be light-handed on the glue as well because you don't want to have big oozy messes creeping out of your little corners there. Now when you get to the last two, experience teaches, right? Better to do the last two together than try to struggle with the last one, because for sure it's going to get caught underneath and then you're going to stand on your head trying to get it apart. Okay, just give that a little hold. Beautiful. Okay, there we have the base made. Great. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to bring the trimmer back in, and we're going to score our, okay, there. We're going to score our lid at 1/2 inch. And don't do what I do and cut your 1/4 inch right off like I did one time when I was doing this. Take your scoring tool, not the cutting tool, give it a quick score at 1/2 inch. Then you're going to take your 2.5 inch, I think I'm going to use the snowflake side, and you're going to score that at 1/4 inch. Now, while I have the trimmer out, I'm going to cut these in half diagonally so that I have 4 triangles. So when you're cutting with this, I'm going to get the scoring blade out of there, you're going to line up the 2 corners of your triangle and start with your blade somewhere in the middle of the square. If you try to cut it from end to end, like this, the only thing that happens is that it doesn't matter how sharp your blade is, I always manage to crumple my end, and that's really annoying. So if you start in the middle, go up, and then come back down, there's your 2 triangles, and you don't have a big mess. So I think we're finished with the trimmer now. And we're going to take our triangles, and we're just going to decorate our box. So these were the 1 7/8 inch squares, cut in half on the diagonal. So now this is my first video. I know it's a little choppy. Bear with me. I can only assume they're going to get better as we go along. My cat is sitting there looking at me like, who are you talking to? There. Almost done. Oops, a little bit of glue there. Oh, so cute. I love these things. Okay, so now we're going to first bend our DSP on the 1/4 inch fold line and also our lid on the 1/2 inch. I found I had better luck if I burnished them first and then glued them. First couple I didn't burnish the folds first, and I found that when I tried to fold them, they were just big lumpy, they didn't fold nicely. So now I'm just going to line up my fold lines across here. Let it sit for a few seconds. And I'm going to use just a bit of glue right along where the scallop part is. And then line up my bottom here. Oops. And I'm just going to hold that for a few seconds and let that glue its little self down. I tried this part with tear and tape too, and I don't know, it just wouldn't hold, so excuse me, I really like the Tombow glue. When it's done, it's done. Okay, and there's our little box. Now for the handle. Now when I was doing them in bulk for my daughter's shower, I actually did this part prior to gluing the lid on. So I'm going to take some tear and tape. What did I do with my tear and tape? Okay, I've got my other tear and tape is on this terrible mess of a desk of mine somewhere. I'm just going to use this for now. So this is a very narrow one. Okay, and I'm just going to center that. It's not even close to center. That's better. Okay, I'm just going to center that. In the grand scheme of things, you can actually just leave the backing for the tear and tape on, but... And then I'm going to take... This is the little piece that we cut out of the lid for the center of the box. We're just going to cover the raw edge of the ribbon so that it looks pretty. There. Alrighty. Now I'm going to take another piece of ribbon. And this is the polka dot, Stampin' Up! Polka dot ribbon from the annual catalog. So I've taken the liberty of pre-cutting these in the large. These are also cut with the layering circles, and yeah, I just really like the combo. So the largest one is red, so I'm going to layer the Bermuda Bay over the red. This is real red. Just going to layer that. And then for my sentiment, you can see I'm still using some of my old stamps. I didn't replace the older stamp pad style with the colors, as they're pretty new. I haven't been a demo that long, so I thought, well, I'm not going to spend the money on on new stamp sets, stamp pads, because I can use that money to spend on more stamp sets, since my stamp pads are perfectly fine. Okay, so I've got my Bermuda Bay here, and I'm going to, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do my sentiment first. I'll get that on there. Pop that right in the middle. Beautiful. And then my little snowflakes, I'll just beautiful. Alrighty, so that's our stamping. Put these away before I end up sticking my finger in it, which I usually do. And I'm going to glue this to the Bermuda Bay. Of course it's round, it doesn't matter which way is up. There, see, I did stick my finger in it. Okay, and I'm going to grab a couple of dimensionals. Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that right on top of the box. We did these in my card class this month as well. I have one customer who does not like doing three-dimensional boxes. She just thinks they're silly. She'd rather make cards, but she actually quite liked this. And I brought some candy for her to put in it, and she gave it to her husband, and she thought that was quite cool. So, alrighty. So I'm just going to place that right over my ribbon. Oops, squished it. There. So there's our little box. Cute, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining me. I am in Ontario, so if you are Canadian and you don't have a current Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be delighted to send you a catalog. Just message me and let me know if you'd like one. And any product that you've seen on here today is available in my online store, so you can let me know. I'll be happy to get it going for you. Thank you so much and have an awesome day.